Oscar-nominated actor Paul Giamatti may be playing Art Bell in a brand new movie that's set to come out soon. Right now, the bidding war is still out on, who's going to get the movie, what's going to happen. Let's see what all the details are about. Because there's a lot here to discuss. Because Paul Giamatti is a huge fan of the UFO phenomena. He has a podcast where he's dedicated time to it. In fact, he loves talking about it. More on that in a second. And guess what else? Well, AJ from the Y-Files is, more than likely going to be working on this project as well. I've got some details on that because I emailed AJ and he responded. I'll get to that in a moment. So, let's jump into the story, y'all. Right? Paul Giamatti playing Art Bell in a movie. I'm in. I mean, Paul Giamatti is one of the greatest actors of our time. So for him to jump into this topic and play such a prominent figure, right, in the community, Art Bell from coast to coast, this would be epic. This is going to be epic. Now, I think that this movie is going to happen, and not only that, I think people are going to fight over who's going to get to release it, right? This is a big deal, right? Paul Giamatti coming off of an Oscar nomination, right? Golden Globe win for his role in The Holdovers, right? Just a couple years ago, boom. Now his next project is this. So, look, I've got some more details on what exactly is happening. Let's get to it. All right, so we've got right here, Deadline is reporting bidders circling hot radio silence and Paul Giamatti package about paranormal DJ Art Bell. Paranormal DJ, I love that. So here we go. Exclusive. We are hearing that Amazon and Warner Brothers, among others, have put bids in for a pitch that's been making rounds from the Radio Silence team with Paul Giamatti attached to star. The pitch is a biopic about the late paranormal DJ Art Bell, who would broadcast his radio show from his home studio 65 miles west of Las Vegas, fielding unscreened telephone calls in a 5-hour show on KNYE-FM called Coast to Coast. Guests would offer up eyewitness stories on Bell's show about alien encounters, past lives, time travel, and more X-File-like situations. His 2018 New York Times obituary noted that Bell claimed he and his wife spotted a 150-foot-long triangular craft above their car one night before it disappeared. In Coast to Coast heyday in the 1990s, it would pull in around 10 million listeners. Okay, this was no joke, y'all. So many famous stories from that show. Hang on, my chair is sliding down. So many people would, so many stories from his time, right? Like, and I've got a couple clips that I want to share. One from the actual show, and then another one, an interview, so you can see his face and who he is with George Knapp. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's keep going here. Bell became an amateur radio operator at 13, served as an Air Force medic during the Vietnam War, and was a DJ for an English language station in Okinawa. He was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame in 2008. Bell also co-wrote the Coming Global Superstorm with Whitney Strieber. I don't know why they put that L in there. Which became the basis for the Roland Emmerich mega hit The Day After Tomorrow. Great movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, Dennis Quaid. He wrote several books, including his autobiography, The Art of Talk, which is included in the rights to this package. Producing the film project is Sophie Cassidy, the head of 2.0 Entertainment, and Jeff Katz. Katz started his career in talk radio and began chasing rights to the Art Bell project with Cassidy while they worked on The Pope's Exorcist. He eventually worked with the city government of Pahrump, Nevada, Bell's hometown, to build a relationship with and earn the support of Bell's business partner, Karen Jackson, as well as Bell's family. So, look, basically, Jeff Katz, more on him in a second, so just pin that. Radio Silence, who's behind this, right? They're the ones pitching this project, right? They're comprised of directors Matt Olfen and Tyler Gillette. They directed 2012's VHS, but 2019 Searchlight horror film Ready or Not, which I love that movie, took them to the next level, becoming a cult classic. They also went on to helm the reboots of Scream and Scream 6, right? Boom. And so now they're trying to tackle this, which is very, very interesting, to say the least. And look, let's keep going. So AJ from the Y-Files tweeted out, a year ago, my Hollywood big shot buddy, Pod Katz, who is Jeff Katz, right, who I just mentioned, told me about this project he was working on. I said, the Y-Files wants in. The Y-Files is in. We have something else cooking with Jeff too. More details on these when I'm allowed to talk. Backstage vid about this project coming ASAP. Let the bidding war begin. Then he puts a link to that Deadline article, which we just went through. And I'll put links in the description to all of this. So the Y-Files is in, y'all. So I emailed AJ because I communicate with AJ very sparsely, just every once in a while by email. And he's always so kind and always responds and just, such a great dude. And so was very excited when he, responded, basically, and told me, I can't really, to be honest with you, he can't really say anything publicly, right? So I can't really say anything, just the fact that he is going to be helping with this project, and he'll be talking more about what he can as, basically the project needs to get picked up, and then they start setting up a plan, then he'll, be allowed to talk a little bit more about how AJ from the Y-Files and other people, I'm assuming, are going to be helping out with this film. AJ and his team are such great researchers. AJ in particular, I would imagine they're going to help building that story out about Art Bell, right? And, good Lord, this is going to be awesome. AJ from the Y-Files helping out. I did tell him, hey, are you going to have a cameo? And he said, and I hadn't even thought about that, but now I'm going to ask. So if we see AJ in the Y-Files, from the Y-Files in the movie, you got your boy Patrick to thank for that, for giving him that idea. I'm just kidding. I'm sure he would have thought of that at some point. Let's be real. It's so early in the stage, but basically you've got an idea. I'm assuming a script, right? And a star attached. I can't imagine Paul Giamatti is going to attach himself to this project without a script in place, but it is possible. These things do happen sometimes. But typically, I would assume there's a script. Paul Giamatti's read it. He likes it. He loves the UFO stuff, which we'll get to here in a second. And now, okay, boom, he's on. And so now they're just trying to find who's going to pick this up, right? And there's going to be a little bit of a bidding war. It's Paul Giamatti. Again, he's going to put out a performance, man. Did you see American Splendor? That was a movie that kind of helped catapult him as well. And he played a person that actually existed, right? And he's played real people before. Hello, John Adams, right? But American Splendor, right? And God, he was so good in that. What he's going to do for Art Bell is going to be phenomenal, right? I cannot wait for this. And this is exciting. I'm super excited for this and super excited for AJ to help out with that. And there's no real details. He couldn't tell me anything. That's basically what he said. Look, I got to wait. But as soon as I find out, I'll let you know. So I'll be making update videos to let everyone know what's going on. And I'm sure he's going to be letting people know on the Y-Files as well. All right, let's get to this. Let me show you this. So look at this article from the Hollywood Reporter. This is back in March 8th, 2024, so almost a year ago. Paul Giamatti would rather talk about Bigfoot and UFOs than pretty much anything else. Since being nominated for an Oscar, the holdover star has tripled the audience of Chinwag, his podcast about the paranormal, esoteric, and downright weird. Now Giamatti is planning an extended Chinwag universe. What does that mean? I need to get involved with that. But what's interesting is he's been nominated for an Oscar before, back for Cinderella Man. And he got beat by George Clooney for Syriana. This is 2006. We're talking Ron Howard's Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe. So I'm surprised he didn't get nominated for Sideways, right? Let's be real. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be so cool. And Paul Giamatti, he's bringing his passion and love for the topic to this kind of project, let's be real, right? This is it. This is it. It might be a project that I bet he will say like he's never wanted to do something so bad, and research. Imagine he gets to research for this, right? Like he's gonna love every second of it. So this is very exciting, and there you can see Paul Giamatti, and he could definitely play Art Bell. Definitely, this is gonna be so good. Gosh, guys, I cannot wait for this. All right, so hang on. I've got a couple interviews here. Okay, this is George Carlin talking with Art Bell, because see, Art Bell is such a diverse range of interviews that he did and topics he discussed, and it wasn't just UFOs. And he didn't just talk to like UFO nuts, like Art Bell. It's crazy, right? So George Carlin, man, the GOAT, right? One of the comedy GOATs for sure, going on and talking with Art Bell. I've got a little snippet here that I've set up that I want us to listen to. I'll put a link in the description so you can go listen to this full interview if you want. It's phenomenal.
When they talk about conspiracies, and one of the things I enjoy on your show is when people talk about the government, and I'm talking about your guests who talk about whether or not the government and certain agencies and certain aspects of government have covered things up. And I have thought for a long time, not always obviously, but that, they tried to make it so that the belief in the conspiracy makes you somehow outside the norm, that you're a kook, that you're a conspiracy buff. They say he's a conspiracy buff.
George, they lie their asses off.
I know it. And I wrote a little something out, and I want to read it to you because I pulled this paper up from the other room. I have some notes I haven't filed yet. And I said, well, if this comes up, I'd like to be able to say this to Art. So let me just read this to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it goes like this. Do I believe in conspiracies? Nah. Do I believe powerful people would get together and plan for certain outcomes? Nah. Do I believe powerful interests would operate outside the law and maybe even kill people? Nah. Do I believe secret government agencies might feel the need to assassinate a person and cover it up? Nah. I think everything in America is open and clean and above board, and powerful people always play by the rules. That's my thought.
Yeah, well, you should have been on my government agent line.
Oh.
I had a government agent line open earlier.
Really? Yeah. My biggest sadness is that I do go to sleep. Not my biggest sadness. Listen to this hyperbole. God, I gotta slap myself. One of my disappointments is that I don't get to hear you every night all the way through, and that I don't get to hear you every night. I do go to sleep a little bit early. Down here in Las Vegas, I do go to sleep late, but I'm usually writing at night and working on my computer.
Now, what a great interview there with George Carlin, right? Again, these are the kind of people that Art Bell, was hanging out with, talking with. People respected him. Again, he had millions of listeners nightly, right? Coast to coast. Who doesn't remember Art Bell? This is going to be such a great film that will actually go beyond just UFOs, right? The connection with those kind of listeners, pioneering a new type of radio, right, as well. It's funny, when I was 18, I wanted to be a radio DJ. And I even went to broadcasting school for a year to learn to be a radio DJ. I learned a lot. I was on the radio at my local school. We had our own radio station that we would pump out. My name was Vinyl Ray. That was my radio name. And I was really big into radio. This was, 2000, 2001, right, in that area. And it was 2001, I believe, actually. And yeah, radio was such a... See, I grew up with the radio, so radio to me was like still a big thing even at that time. Clearly, it started to die off and became something different. But at that time, Art Bell and other people like him were people I looked up to because I wanted to have something similar, right? My own show on the radio. I didn't really want to play music. I wanted to have something like Art Bell did, a talk show, that type of thing, and talk to people and have people call in. And I miss those type of things. That doesn't really happen anymore. Can't really do that with podcast and, People still call into radio shows, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. With all the different mediums and everything you can take in, radio has definitely taken a back seat. But I love everything I've learned. And honestly, all those skills, which, I left radio once I found out, I had to go work in some like small town in Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere, with 3 buildings, and one of them was the radio station, and like work from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. to like 7 a.m. And they were going to pay me like, nothing. Like no money, like it was just nothing. And I just thought, some money, but you know what I mean? Nothing. I just thought, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I love it this much. And clearly I need to work my way up, but, so I gave up and did other stuff and whatever. I'm here now. But always sticks with me, always sticks with me, a big place in my heart. And I use those same skills for podcasting. And I used them honestly through life, because it just taught you like how to speak, how to talk into a mic, how to listen, how to engage, how to, create commercials and stuff. I remember making radio commercials and stuff like that. And, it was just fun. It was just a good time. There's a lot of buttons. It was very analog, just old school. I miss it. There's something about it. You had the board, you had the thing, you got other people. It was just it was an energy I can't explain unless you actually do it, and that was it, So, yeah, I can't wait for this movie to come out with Art Bell. It's going to be sick. And I've got one last little treat for you. This is a clip of an interview with George Knapp, one of Art Bell's last interviews he ever did before he passed. And this little piece here, I think, encompasses Art Bell in a great way, and just kind of shows the impact that he had on the industry.
Let me ask you this, Art. The last time you were on the air live was 2010?
The last program I did was Halloween of 2010, and that was sort of as a part-time, I think I'll do 13 shows a year type deal. So that was the last show. The last real show I did was many, many years ago now.
And have you been kind of jonesing to do what you did before?
Of course. Every time I see a headline about anything in the paranormal world, I'm all over it. And jonesing is the right word. That's right. I love that stuff. And the world has changed only in the sense that what I did then is being done now times 10. So I'm walking back into a world that I guess almost in the modern world created, and there's more of it.
A lot more of it.
A lot more of it. So, yeah, that's right. So, of course, yes, I've been jonesing.
Do you feel a responsibility, or at least a degree of authorship for what's happened, all the paranormal TV shows and ghost hunters and all that stuff?
Even though here I am on television, I have a face made for radio, I think. And I've been approached by a lot of television, which I've turned down, one as recently as 2 days ago. So, do I feel a responsibility for authorship? Well, no, I don't want to claim that.
Oh, you must, though. I mean,
These questions, look, deep questions like life after death, is there any? UFOs, people from elsewhere, things from elsewhere, all of these things that we talk about, ghosts. They're all the same questions that were there when I was doing the broadcast, and those questions are there and bigger now. I suppose as you can see, I'm older. As we get older, we wonder more about these things. I certainly do. So I have a lot of questions. And fortunately, there's a lot of really good people out there who have answers. I'm really looking forward to being back on the air.
It seems like there's an era, it's a more legitimate pursuit now. I mean, when you started this stuff, it was wild, crazy, it's ridiculous, something to laugh at.
That's right.
It is more respectable now. I mean, some of it's pretty laughable and crazy, but it is more respectable.
Or put another way, a lot of the things that I talked about 10 years ago are now mainstream, actually mainstream. Global warming is an example. No matter which side of it you're on, we all know the temperatures are going up. The only argument left is who's responsible. So things that were at the fringe then are in the middle now. So I guess in a sense I'll be jumping jumping forth to the fringe once again.
All right, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I'll make sure to update everyone as soon as I get more information about this movie, about Art Bell with Paul Giamatti. Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, y'all. We'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, betters, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace!
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.